All right, so I mean, the first thing I want to talk about, I noticed before we even got into the game, was kind of just thinking about the game, and you'll hear a lot of high-level players talk about this. Like when I first got to Diamond, I made a Reddit post. I was like, "Oh, how I got to Diamond after like 6 years of being hard stuck, whatever." And this is like 2 years ago now, but my one of the biggest things was think about the game before it fucking happens, right? It's so simple. People always come to me and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know what to do in this situation. It's so easy. These will give you, and Phalaris talks about these giving you motives.
Yeah.
I say game plan. He says motives. Whatever. If you know the ideals, if you know the ideal situation, like if you, for example, think about if both people play perfectly, this is what should happen. Well, you should know that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they fuck up somewhere and you capitalize on it and you win the game. And they're not going to play it perfectly until Masters Plus. So if you know the ideal situation, you really have a game plan all the way up to Masters Plus. All the way up until people start actually creating opportunity and not just fucking up. I don't know why this game's not populating yet, but whatever.
I don't know. It's weird.
So I want you to actually ask these questions in draft and in loading screen before you get in. Like, who has priority mid? How do I play out the first couple of waves? How does the jungle work out? Like, I mean, like, do we have a power farmer? Are we gonna get ganked early? And we can talk about early jungle timers, but I have a feeling you have a pretty good grasp on those. But like the early timers are like level 2 gank. You need to know when that happens. You need to know the 230 timer, like who can gank at 230, and when you need to ward. You know what happens at 315. The rubber banded camps, the first buff respawn. Like you need to know all of these numbers. These are a little bit more higher level, and I don't expect people to really understand what these numbers mean in terms of jungle tracking until Plat Plus. But it's good to be introduced to them, especially if you are a jungle player. Because as a jungle player, like this is your whole game.
You mean by the 5-minute one though? Isn't that where the first small camp that you take comes back, right?
It's where the camp on the opposite side that you starts to respawn. So that's the rubber band.
Okay.
The rubber band effect.
Okay.
Yes, they call these the rubber band camps. Do we win the 2v2? That's really, really important because, I mean, let's say at 315, we know both the crabs spawn. And we know that their jungle is going this way. If we win the 2v2, and let's say we have priority, so we can go either way. If we win the 2v2, what crab do we go to?
The one that they're going to be at?
Yeah, because we just go and win the fight. If we don't win the 2v2, we just trade crabs and we're even and we're fine anyways. Right? Like these are all, but you don't know that if you don't answer that question to yourself before you start, right?
Right. I mean, most silver junglers don't know that and they still challenge.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't make decisions based off of what, and this is where we're going to talk about compensation. You can't make your decisions based off of what a silver player makes. Because, like, if you're silver 4 and you just compensate or listen to what a silver 4 player wants to do for 1,000 games, where do you end up?
Silver 4?
Silver fucking 4. Right? So, regardless of what your opponent or what your teammates decide or what your opponents decide, you need to make the right decision. And that's going to lose you games. Because you're going to make the wrong decision sometimes. But if you lose one game now, and it wins you 999 games where you're in that situation, is that worth it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, of course it is, right? And this is kind of like the solo queue mentality. It's different in competitive. I'm learning it's different in competitive. I don't want to be the reason I just into fucking scrim because I decide to limit test some dumbass shit. Because I actually have the communication there. I actually have a relationship with my teammates. But in solo queue, you don't. You cannot listen to your teammates unless you want to be your teammate's rank. You're playing with silver 4 shitters right now, and it's the same thing I say this to every rank. Like, I see this a lot when people start to believe their teammates are good. So I see it in like Plat 2, Diamond 4, Diamond 2. They're like, yo, my teammate was calling this decision, so I just went over there. It's like, is that the right decision for you? And they'll be like, well, no. Then you can't do it. I don't give a fuck you're playing with a Diamond 2 jungler. If you don't want to be Diamond 2, you have to be better than that. Right? So it's a very, very similar thing. You just can't play like a silver 4 player, and that does tie in with compensation. And I'm gonna hop down here. Do not compensate for teammates' decisions. It's better to win or lose on your call, so you can learn, and you can get out of your MMR. Okay, so win cons. Compensation. How do you guys win the game? That's a very, very important question as well, because some teams really like to team fight. Some teams really like to 1-3-1. Some teams like to look for picks. And let's say you're playing a game where you guys win a team fight, but you're playing against a team that really, really likes to get picks. What do you do? How do you play this game out? And this is why it's important to know these questions, because they lead into tangible things.
If you want a team fight, you force Baron and objectives.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You just go stand on top of the objective and you say, we're going to be here and we're going to either get Baron or get a winning fight. Yep. And either way, I'm okay with that, right? So you can know how you want the mid game and late game to look before the game even starts. And that will be very, very big for you, because it'll let you spend way less energy on just stupid questions in the middle of your games. And you'll know what's good or bad because you know what's ideal, right? Game plans and motives. So that will be a very, very big thing.